If you're new here, welcome in, and if you know me, welcome back. Today, we're talking about Pros vs. Joes, Episode 4. If you're just joining in this series, Pros vs. Joes is a show where three wannabe athletes try to compete against some of the best athletes to ever walk the earth in some challenges. Now, let's meet this episode's pros. First up is John Rocker, a former relief pitcher that retired at 28 years old and has a category under Wikipedia titled Controversial Statements. Not statement, statements. Next up is 7-time Pro Bowler and Hall of Fame kicker Morton Anderson. Oh man. Third up is WNBA Hall of Fame icon Rebecca Lobo. Hell yeah, dude. Followed up by 5-time Olympic gold medalist swimmer Gary Hall Jr. And we're getting swimming today. Let's go. This is already a strong cast. I can't wait to see who the fifth person is.
I'm CLYDE DREXLER, 15-year NBA career, top 50 all-time, Hall of Famer. These Joes, they have no chance.
Oh snap, it's CLYDE DREXLER? Okay. All right, let's meet the Joes. The first Joe is someone named Bryant, who works in insurance.
I took out a few policies on myself, but they're probably gonna need it more than I will.
I've heard a lot worse.
The second Joe is Steve from New York, and he didn't have to tell us because we would have figured it out immediately.
Steve Knutson from New York. I grew up playing baseball, loving the sport, some football and stuff. Yeah, I want to see if I can hang with the big boys, man, you know?
Bing bong! Joe number 3 is someone named David Norrie, who says he's a sports writer, and his goal is to try to get even with them.
They don't really look at us as anything worthwhile, so I think it's time for get one for the writers on the other side.
I found an article profiling him saying that he covered the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a few seasons, and I found a few articles of him writing for the Tampa Bay Times, so it tracks, except I couldn't find any of the Buccaneers articles of his. I saw some high school sports coverage, and there's some health stuff mixed in. It was 2007, and articles on websites are known to go missing all the time, so I'm not saying that he didn't do what he said he's doing. I'm just saying is that I can't fully track it. Also, as someone that has worked in sports media, it's really interesting that he says that he wants to get even with the athletes because, one, what have the athletes done to him? And two, I'm viewing this from a 2025 lens where I would much rather be on the media side than the athlete side. Have you seen how we cover the athletes? It's not fun. It's pretty brutal. Every game, every mistake you made on, I know this is before the influx and boom of social media. I have a hard time thinking about the 2000 sports and be like, yeah, I would love to get even with those guys. I don't even want to be on that side. I'm gonna be so for real. The first challenge is trying to get a hit off of John Rocker, and I gotta say that the Joes are already marveling about how imposing these athletes are.
And then CLYDE DREXLER.
I didn't think he was that big on TV.
Right.
But live and in person, a lot bigger than I.
And the pros can sense that they're already nervous. I would be.
There's a lot of shaking in their voice. Did you hear him? I'm not afraid of vibrating. I heard it.
Bryant's audition tape is the first one I've seen that has a microphone, and he's talking about how good he looks.
I mean, one athlete at 34 years old can look this good?
Okay. Steve is a Mets fan, and he talks about hating the Yankees and the Braves. And I'll let you guys guess who played for the Braves in this cast. I'll let you have 3 guesses. The first 2 don't even count. Lastly, we have Joe number 3, David, who shows himself working out, and it's not striking any sense of fear whatsoever into 5 professional athletes.
Can I do it? Hell yes, I can do it.
I'm embarrassed just watching it.
The first challenge is trying to hit off of John Rocker. It's similar to the Jenny Finch challenge, and they say that anything that gets by Rocker in fair territory counts as a hit. I'm interested in why it says get by John Rocker. Oh, I think that's to prevent them from trying to bunt? I didn't even think about that. They could have just said no bunting. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense though. It makes sense to, there's no bunting on Spike TV. What do you think this is? The first Joe, Bryant, steps in and strikes out on 3 pitches. Now, I'm a firm believer that batting stance maketh the hitter. And that, I'm watching Bryant here emulating 70s baseball player Mickey Rivers. And I'm kind of confident that he's not going to make contact on anything because that's just a crazy batting stance to apply on the fly. Rocker gave him 2 breaking balls as well. And if anyone that's played baseball knows is that's pretty mean. That's pretty mean. It is pros versus Joes. You're supposed to show your dominance, but dang, 2 breaking balls off the bat? This man does not care. Steve goes next and gets a 90-mile-per-hour fastball sped right by him. But the next pitch he gets is a breaking ball that he barely pushes foul. Now, CLYDE DREXLER teases him a little bit.
You're a little bit ahead of that one.
And I just want to say, for your first at bat to get contact, that's impressive. That's impressive to me. And I know that we're not giving points for that, but that's not bad. There's also an extra element to this challenge as well that I did not mention. John Rocker isn't exactly known for his pinpoint control. For his career, he averaged 5.8 walks per 9 innings. So there's a chance that you don't know where the ball is ending up. Is this going to be important? I don't know. Just wanted to let you guys know that. Last up in round 1 is David Norrie after Steve strikes out, and the announcer says that 12 years ago, Norrie got hit in the face by a fastball and hasn't played since. So what does John Rocker do?
Thanks for coming.
I surrender. I surrender.
Just because I can.
As we can see, this is the type of pitcher that we're dealing with today. He even put a hole in the wood, man. Respectfully, as a batter, how are you not doing anything else but pooping bricks right now? Anyway, if you were wondering how that at-bat went, Rocker gets Norrie out with 3 straight fastballs. Chapman strikes out on 3 pitches again. Oh, sorry, Bryant's last name is Chapman. Bryant Chapman. Steve seems to not be afraid at swinging, but the problem is making the contact in and of itself and reading the pitches, which was never going to be easy with a wild card like that. I wish that these shows often told us what sports the Joes had played before. Like if we had like a bullet point list being like, this guy actually played a little bit of baseball in high school, because Steve swings the bat like he's played a certain level of baseball before. I just can't pinpoint where it ends. David Norrie goes next and he tries a new strategy. Don't swing at all. And it works to perfection.
That is ball 4!
Damn it.
He draws a 4-pitch walk.
Woo! Feels good.
You didn't do anything.
Hater alert. Hater alert.
I can't tell if John Rocker is pretending or not here because of his documented control issues, but I'm going to accept it as a real moment for now. In his last at bat, Bryant gets really good contact on a ball, actually.
Oh! No! But it falls foul!
But it turns just foul, and then he strikes out looking. I'm going to be completely honest. Remember when I said earlier that I had no faith that he was going to even make contact with the ball? I apologize. I was unfamiliar with your game. What stands out about this at-bat, though, is that Rocker has the ability to call his shot as to where he will put the ball and then follows through on it.
I'm gonna paint you away. How about that?
Gotta be an artist to paint.
This makes me start to believe the 4-ball walk a little bit less. Steve goes last and in his time of need hits a breaking ball out of the infield to get a hit to tie David. In David's last at bat, he gets it to a 1-2 count, but then it happens again. John Rocker loses control and gets it to a full count. And now this entire round could depend on the last pitch.
Oh! Oh, Norrie gets a hold of one. He hits it in the gap.
So Norrie gets a hit on a full count, going 2-3 in that event because that earlier 4-ball walk also counted as a hit. And I was surprised that he swung. I was surprised that he swung because John Rocker had thrown 2 balls before. So I personally wouldn't have swung, but again, I would have been wrong. Props to David Norrie for going 2 for 3 in this event. There's a part of me that truly believes that John Rocker could have left them hitless if he really wanted to, but we're going to move on to the next challenge, which is kicking against Morton Anderson. The twist to help the Joes out is that Morton can kick from wherever he wants, and the Joes have to kick from half of that distance. I like this twist because I have no idea what his range currently is at his age. If you miss the field goal as a Joe, you're out, and the last person standing wins the challenge. I absolutely love this idea. We've seen a lot of football challenges in pros versus Joes that involve hitting. I'm glad that we see one that involves kicking this time. First up is Steve, who banks in a 20-yarder. Now, I wasn't being completely clear with you guys this challenge because I didn't understand one of the rules at the time. The show put nets around the goalpost to help the ball go in for the Joes. Think of it as like gutter guards for bowling. Steve doesn't use a tee. Bryant does and has a crazy run-up.
Make this fun, make this fun. Oh, he gets some height on it, but it hits a crossbar.
David Norrie also has a chance to stay alive as well, and he also uses the tee, but Norrie hits it up the upright. Morton Anderson tries from 50 yards and also uses the Joe's net to get the ball in, and I feel like this shouldn't count. I just don't think that a pro should be able to use a Joe's benefit. It just doesn't sit right with me, man. Anyway, Steve whiffs on the field goal, and man...
Wow. No way. That's by far the worst kick we've seen all day. Morton Anderson chuckling.
That's brutal. I can't do anything better. Can't do any better with my old knees now, but that's brutal TV. David banks in the kick and earns a bye to overtime. That was a pretty underwhelming challenge. As much as I was excited for the kicking challenge, it ended up being pretty underwhelming because it ended in basically 2 rounds. Maybe that's a me thing. I understand that it's the second round of the episode, and in the second round of the episode, they throw the Joes an olive branch and be like, here, we're going to help you a little bit. I feel like this would have been a way more entertaining challenge if this was the first one. If that makes sense, if it was just kick a field goal up the uprights, you still have the distance, but you had less margin for error. Another way I would propose is if a bank shot was 1 point, then just making the kick without the nets would be 2 points, so that you could keep the nets that level the playing field, but you can reward the Joe that actually did it the pros way. I think that would have been a way better way to go about this episode, if that makes sense. All right, so David Norrie has won both challenges and gets a bye. The third round is an even playing field, which is my favorites, and that means it's ice hockey time. The pros are confused as to why the Joes were kicking with their toes. Like it's the 70s, you're supposed to like kick with the inside of your foot, I think, or like a part of your foot, like off the leg. I don't know. It's not supposed to be with your toes. At the very least, they could have just watched what Morton Anderson was doing and try to be like, okay, I'll just try to do it his way and see if I can even get anywhere close. For the ice hockey challenge, there are 5 pucks around the ring, and they have to score them as goals in a time trial. Norrie has a bye, so Spencer picks CLYDE DREXLER because he doesn't know if he can skate or not. And the host is like, he's called Clyde the Glide. Are you sure you want to do this?
Clyde, are you ready to go?
Did he not get the memo? This will kick your ass.
I regret this.
Bryant picks Gary. I was really curious to see which of the pros could actually skate here, because we've done these round 3 challenges before where it's like, oh, can the pros even do this? Where the golf episode where it's like all the pros could basically play golf pretty well, and then none of the pros except for Bo Jackson could do very well at skeet shooting. I don't know if you've ever tried ice skating when you've never really ice skated before, but usually it takes like 30 minutes to warm up even. So I don't know how this is going to go. For Clyde, it's not the skating part that's a problem. It's the shooting part that takes him a minute to get the hang of. And his total time is 1 minute and 21 seconds.
Hi. Clyde looks pretty good on the skates. Gets a hold of that one.
And that's Steve's fault for picking someone that's known to be smooth as hell. That's on you, buddy. Steve starts his round, and we all instantly realize that Clyde made this look really easy. Like scary easy.
Going down again is Knudsen.
I really clocked how everyone is having fun and rooting for him because he keeps falling, man. Steve cannot ice skate to save $20,000 prize that he had a chance to win. And it takes him 2 minutes and 30 seconds to get his first goal in. first goal in. It took CLYDE DREXLER under 1:30. It took Steve 2:30 to get his first goal in. In total, it takes Steve almost 7 minutes to do this challenge. So Bryant has so much leeway. He has to not lose by more than 5.5 minutes. It all depends on if Gary Hall can skate or not. And lucky for Bryant, Gary Hall doesn't seem to be able to skate that well, so he's using a more patient approach here. It takes Gary 2 minutes and 48 seconds, so Bryant has a lot of time here, a lot of leeway here. And even though he is stumbling his way, he isn't falling. He's not accurate with the shot, but he's not falling down, which I think is the bigger time waster.
Or puck. Brian Chapman completes his task, folks. He's going to overtime.
He uses a smart strategy and corrals all the pucks together and actually wins the round. I want to note here that I think that Steve would have put up a better fight on another episode with different challenges. This is one of those luck of the draw things. And I'm taking that back to his baseball challenge because he seems like he has some level of athletic experience and athletic ability. I just think that this was a bad draw for him because kicking and skating are something that he probably was not thinking about going in here. And he didn't appear to be uncoordinated or not have an athletic background at all. I just think that he would have had a better time with some better rounds. Anyway, on to the overtime round. For the first round, you have to get around CLYDE DREXLER, who is playing defense. The second event, you have to catch 2 kickoffs from Morten Andersen, which I'm guessing will not be easy. I write this script as I watch the show. I don't know how easy that's going to be or not. For the third event, you have to see how long you can hold your breath underwater. Let me stop right here. In the back of my mind, I was really curious about what they would do with the swimming portion of this entire episode. I really predicted that they would go to a pool and try to do a freestyle or try to do like some kind of mile-long swim against Gary Hall or something like that. I was not expecting an underwater breathing challenge, which I know that Gary Hall is going to be good at. It feels like something that I would see on Fear Factor versus Pros versus Joes, if that makes sense. Like being underwater and then Fear Factor would dump like 38 cockroaches. And I'm not putting that on the back of the green screen because that would gross me out in the edit, and I don't want to gross you out either. In the fourth challenge, you have to try to score on Rebecca Lobo, and it's just now hitting me that this is the first episode I've done that has 2 players from the same sport. Last up is catching wild pitches from John Rocker. First up is David against Clyde. He turns the ball over 3 times and times out. Upon watching this, I had not taken into account the ball going out of bounds and turning the ball over. Bryant has a little bit more burst than David, but he doesn't have the handle. And he's very much in luck, though, because CLYDE DREXLER goes for a steal.
He comes again. Oh, he's free!
This allows Bryant to do probably the weakest crossover you could possibly do here and finish 23 seconds faster than David. If you've been watching this series, you know how valuable 23 seconds of overtime is. All right, the Joes have to kick 2 kickoffs from Morten Andersen. The kicker here is that he gets to kick it... The kicker here, that's my fault. He gets to kick it anywhere inbounds. David catches 2 out of the 3 kicked to him and finishes in 22 seconds. Bryant catches 2 out of the 3 as well and finishes with 25 seconds. This didn't seem like much of a challenge to either of the Joes. GG, go next. Part 3 is trying to hold their breath underwater as long as Gary Hall does. And however long you think he can hold his breath underwater, I'm telling you, your guess is not going to be close.
Approaching 2 minutes. Gary Hall looking strong. Look at the intensity on his face.
3 minutes and 8 seconds. I looked up the world record for this, which is 24 minutes. Also, not a guess I was prepared for having. In this overtime challenge, the Joes are going in at the same time. Now, they have dumbbells so they don't float away, but this is the first time where you have both Joes know and see their competition perform at the same time. Usually in overtimes, it's one Joe goes, the other Joe goes. They're doing this at the same time. I don't know why they chose to do that. Have no idea. Maybe that was extra motivation to stay underwater more. No clue. David goes above water in 38 seconds, while Bryant goes 41 seconds. And neither of them are close to Gary Hall, but Gary Hall was an Olympic gold medalist. This is not This is not the area of expertise for anyone. I don't think I could even get to 30 seconds. Knowing me, I grew up with asthma. All right, I was a sprinter. We were doing short bursts of energy. And while we do head back to basketball, I wish that the swimming challenge was the last challenge. If they were doing it at the same time and that would have been for the win, that would have gone so hard. That would have gone so hard. Anyway, where are we at? Oh yeah, we have to watch David struggle to play basketball again.
WNBA All-Star Rebecca Lobo in 1 minute. Turns and shoots, no good.
The thing about David is that his form isn't bad. He just can't dribble. He hits the third shot attempt at 30 seconds in. After a couple of missed shot attempts, Bryant takes 33 seconds, giving him a 20-second lead into the final round. I found it interesting that Rebecca Lobo was basically daring them to shoot the jump shot, and neither one did until like multiple attempts in. I found that really interesting. They were getting the Ben Simmons treatment. Anyway, last up is catching from the ultimate wild card on the roster, John Rocker. They have to catch 2 pitches from Rocker. Bryant's going first this time. Let's see if he can catch.
That one gets right by.
Uh-oh. Bryant catches a dirt ball for his first, which is pretty impressive all things considered, and it takes Bryant 57 seconds total. So that's kind of doable for David. He has 37 seconds of a window, but John Rocker just does his thing, I guess.
Nori's got to catch this ball or he's going to lose. That one is over his head. Time's going to run out. Not going to happen for David Nori.
David runs out of time and Bryant wins. It's honestly a great performance from Bryant against David, as even though David got the bye, Bryant was able to stay alive just enough. The difference of the overtime was that crossover from round 1. So CLYDE basically deciding to go for the steal was the main factor in all of this. As with this series, we have to rank the pros' performance overall. We had a solid performance from all of them, and I can't be mad here. Last is Rebecca Lobo, and this is only because she was in one event. That's all. This is the first time that a pro has only been in one event, because David getting the bye meant that she didn't get to ice skate. That's the only reason why. This is the only reason. This is all we got, the overtime challenge. Now, number 4 is Morten Anderson. I'm discounting the net because he's a pro, so he went 1 for 2 from the field goal range in my eyes. Also, the kickoff challenge wasn't that challenging, it looked like. It didn't look that challenging. I'm gonna be so for real. It's not his fault. It was a bad idea overall. Is what it is. Number 3 is John Rocker. He wasn't bad in the overtime challenge at all, but that 4-pitch walk is really not sitting well with me. I can't really explain it. It's a good overall showing though. Number 2 is Gary Hall. Holding his breath underwater was the coolest part of the overtime challenge, as the Joes didn't even come close. Also, shout out to him for not completely sucking at hockey. And number 1 is CLYDE DREXLER with Eat. He absolutely stole the show with his hockey performance. It's the most impressive thing in the episode by far. He also played really good defense against both Joes, and only luck allowed Bryant to get by him. Really good showing all around. Number 1 goes to CLYDE. Thank you guys for reaching the end of the video. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate this community that we're building. I love you guys. I'll see you next video. Bye.